Welcome to Massive Late Fee. And now your hosts, Mark and Carol. Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to Massive Late Fee. My name is Mark. With me as always is my wife, Carol. How are you doing today, Carol?
Hey, what's up?
How much? It's been a good week here. It is June 10th, 2000.
It is.
I forgot what month it was for a second.
That's impressive. At least you remember the year. You remember the year today, so that's good.
Yeah, I feel like a time traveler.
What
year is it? What's the date today? It's June 10th. What year? What?
Okay, Marty McFly.
Speaking of cliched scripts, we watched we watched Go Northeast.
What?
In 60 seconds.
Okay, yeah.
That was the
what?
That was the name of the movie, right? GONE. Go Northeast in 60 seconds.
You're so weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I love you, but you're weird.
Am I weird?
Yeah. Gone in 60 seconds, yes.
Yeah. I feel like I might have understood the film better if I had seen Gone in 1 through 59 seconds.
Wow.
Your face as I started that joke is the whole reason for the joke. I wish you guys could see it. She was so happy and smiling, and as soon as I started the joke, her face just darkened and crumpled like I had destroyed another part of her soul.
Oh, just why? Why with the bad jokes?
What else am I going to do? Think of really smart jokes?
Yes, get on it.
Get down on it. Get down on it. Anyway, so we watched Gone in 60 seconds. I don't know if you're aware of this. This is a remake.
What?
Yeah, you didn't know that, did you?
I did not.
I didn't think you did. Yeah, it's a remake of a movie called Gone in 60 Seconds from 1974.
Really? Mm-hmm. Huh. Well, I mean, it's definitely modernized because there's a lot of shit in this movie that didn't exist in 1974.
Yeah, exactly. Like Nicolas Cage. No, he was around.
Was he?
Yeah, he was alive in 74. I mean, he wasn't. I don't think he's a working actor in 74, but he was alive. Yeah,
Angelina Jolie wasn't.
Yeah, she wasn't she?
I don't think so.
I don't know what year she was born. Maybe not, but she was born sometime in the 70s, I'm pretty sure.
I don't know.
Yeah. Because, 74 was 26 years ago. So I think she's older. Well, no, she's probably a little younger than 26. Nicolas Cage is older than 26.
Well, for sure, yeah. He's probably in his 30s.
Yeah. Anyway. So, what made the original popular, like it kind of garnered one of those like cult followings where like it wasn't like one of the 70s most successful movies or anything, but on like home video years later and stuff like that, and like shown on TV, and so they gained like kind of like a cult following.
Okay.
And what made it a cult following was the way it was shot was very gritty and realistic, and like almost handheld style, like
Okay.
with the car.
This movie was definitely not like that.
Completely different.
Yeah.
And I mean, I like it. So everything about the surface of this movie works.
Okay.
So the tone I think is good. The pacing's good. Cinematography's good. The action is good. They don't use it. Looks like almost all practical effects. A lot of like staging real cars and stuff like that, which is nice. Like I said, the acting and the chemistry and the between the actors is good. I like all that stuff. Where the movie fails is on the script level.
Okay.
This is one of the most cliched scripts I've ever come across.
You think?
Yes. Okay. I'm an old car robber being brought in for one last job. There's an episode of The Twilight Zone from the fucking 40s or 50s or whatever, where this guy plays actually the bad guy from Short Circuit 2, by the way.
Wow, I can't believe you watched Short Circuit 2.
Oh yeah, Short Circuit. I actually like Short Circuit 2 more than Short Circuit 1.
Well, I didn't like Short Circuit 1, so.
Oh, more input. Anyway, so the villain from that movie, he plays the lead in this episode of The Twilight Zone, and he's like a failed screenwriter who conjures William Shakespeare to write like sitcoms and shit for him and everything, and he becomes super famous from that. But every pitch that he tries to pitch the guy before Shakespeare comes along is the same cliched, like, it's a picture about an astronaut who promised his girl that he wouldn't do any more like space missions, but he's been pulled in for one last time, and that's, he does that with like 4 or 5 different scenarios. Mm-hmm. Back in the 50s, that was a cliched thing.
Sure.
And that's the plot of this. So yeah, the script is the acting and all the visual stuff and the effects, mm-hmm. the special effects, they all elevate a very thin script. Because if you think about it from a script level, like the story is, guy needs to steal some cars to save his brother.
Yeah, the story is not complicated, but I don't think the writing is terrible. What they do with the story,
there's some pretty cliched lines and stuff like that. I feel like it's fairly forgettable from a dialogue standpoint. And like I said, the story is super thin. And what are our characters? What are our characters, and what are their arcs? There is none.
That's not true.
Nicolas Cage, Memphis Rain.
He has an arc.
What's his arc?
He starts out, he's all separated from everything he cares about, and then, by the end of the movie, then he's back in his life, but in a good way.
But I don't feel that hardly at all. Here's the thing. So here's stuff I would do that I think would improve the story. First of all, Giovanni Ribisi, his mm-hmm. brother. Mm-hmm. Who is he? Why does he care? What is his feeling about Memphis? He's mad that he left, right? We don't ever get any scenes of him actually being angry at Memphis. He's sort of understated, well, yeah, but you went away kind of stuff. But there's no scenes of there's no dramatic tension between the two of them. He comes back, Nicolas Cage comes back in and everything to his life, and they're just sitting around eating cereal and shit like that.
It was not cereal.
And talking about, we gotta steal these cars, or whatever. What about Nicolas Cage? What about Memphis Rain? How does he feel about being pulled back into this world that he escaped, and now he has to do this stuff?
I think he has some pretty conflicting feelings. At first, he doesn't want to do it so much that he fucking hesitates to the point they almost killed his brother in that car, and then he enjoys the fuck out of it because it's his favorite thing in the world to do. So that's how he feels about it.
These characters are very underwritten. What's Angelina Jolie's character?
Sexy mechanic girl.
Yep. You nailed it. And that's it.
Yeah.
That's all she is. She's upset because Memphis left, right? What was their relationship? How did that go? We get a couple of things of dialogue, oh, I said you could come with me, and we were going to go straight or whatever. I didn't want to do that. But we don't get any good dramatic scenes.
I disagree.
All right, go on, tell me.
Well, because, like, how much do you want to know about the past for this tight little movie?
A lot.
I mean, they mentioned, like, you have a good idea of the relationship. They were a couple. They lifted cars together. And then apparently his mom told him that he needed to leave for his brother's sake. He asked her to go, and she wasn't ready to do that, so she didn't. And then it wasn't the same without him, she says. So then she stopped, and she has to work 2 jobs now to make as much money. All of that's there.
All you're doing is relaying, like, dialogue parts of the story.
Yeah, well, that's how we got the story. You're saying there's no story. It's there.
Yeah, and on a very basic level, there's a story there, sure.
I don't think this movie is about the story so much. It's about the, like, suspense and the action and the cars and the music.
But
and
I don't feel
the vibe.
I don't feel any suspense. It has a slick, polished, cool, sexy vibe. And it does really well. As a don't think about anything, turn your brain off popcorn film, it's very good. Mm-hmm. But if we're talking about the art form of making movies, on a technical level, it's very good. All the technical people and all the action set pieces and stuff like that they put together is very good. They did a good job artistically with that. Script writing wise, they didn't.
All right.
And if you wanted to make this movie better, if you wanted to, because that's the thing is, like, I have a couple ideas, but that's the thing is that when he's still in the cars and stuff like that, what I feel is, oh, this is cool action, and this is fun, or whatever. But I never feel like any sense of danger, and I never feel any like, like I don't feel that dramatic tension.
Really?
But yeah, because I'm not connected to these characters.
See, I did. I felt tension and concern, and I care.
I think what would have really helped is if they had this veneer of the cool, keep the vibe and everything, but give us some scenes of character interaction and character development of these different characters. Like some more, like some more meat to the characterization, and I think that would have worked. The other thing I would have liked more is we have 2 distinct crews here of car thieves. Mm-hmm. We have the old school crew that they get together, that Nicolas Cage is the boss of or whatever. And then we have Giovanni Ribisi's new crew, which is only like three good dudes, but
4.
I mean, counting him, yeah. And they say like, oh, like new school, old school kind of stuff, or whatever. Like, they talk about like the new blood, and they mention those things a couple times. I really wish they would have played that up. I really wish they would have played up the difference between, like, and maybe, like, because that would have been time for good and, like, funny character development scenes, too, like, little small ones of, like, because a lot of them get partnered up with other people, right? Mm-hmm. The one old and one younger, right? So I wish they had butted heads a little bit more, like, and then learned from each other and stuff like that. Like, oh, no, like, oh, this is the way you do it, young blood, or whatever.
They did do that.
Not much. They did what in the one scene?
Which one scene?
With the two people, and that's it?
Which scene are you referring to? Because there was more than one. The one where he showed him how to do the fingerprints.
The fingerprints, yeah.
I mean, that was a thing.
Mm-hmm. What else?
And with well, I guess he wasn't teaching him, but he got the keys. The keys they needed.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah, he didn't teach them how to do that.
No.
I'm thinking.
Yep, keep thinking. do, 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 do,
Shut up.
Yeah, exactly. They had one scene of that, and that's what made me think, like, this would be cool. If we had a getting to know our crew montage, and in that getting to know our crew montage, the young and the old were coming together and learning from each other. And then we get to learn some idiosyncrasies of each of these different characters, and then we care about them more. And we could get some humor and stuff like that too. There needed to be a little bit more humor in this.
You know what relationship didn't seem very well defined to me was the cop and
Nicolas Cage.
yeah, because
Memphis
Memphis
Reigns.
and
Delroy Lindo.
yeah,
The great Delroy Lindo.
like obvious, like he says at one point, like, oh, you know, it's like the biggest regret of my career not getting you when I could have.
Yeah.
Well, why didn't he get him when he could have?
Right.
And he just let him go again at the end of the movie. So, do you really care that much that you didn't get
Yeah.
him? Because I mean, I realize he saved his life, and that makes sense.
And I would have liked, I would have liked more personal stakes with the cop.
Yeah.
What happened? Why did he have to let him go in the first place? Was there some kind of technicality? Did he make a promise or something like that? Like, you know, I would have liked something like that too.
And Timothy Oliphant's character, what did he do at all?
Nothing.
Why was he there?
He was supposed to be comic relief, I guess,
Was he?
but he wasn't.
No, I didn't really get the vibe that was what he was doing there.
I don't know what he was. Like he would say stuff like he said stuff that I think was supposed to be funny.
About his wife being mean?
Yeah, like he'd punctuate stuff. Like it was very dry humor, but I think he was supposed to be being funny.
Maybe.
But yeah, he felt out of place. I think it was there just to like give someone for Delroy Lindo to play off of, I guess. And I like him. He was good in Go, the prequel to this movie, Go. And then they add an NE in 60 seconds.
This movie felt a little bit like Go. I mean, Go was a much better movie, I will say that. But I mean, like, they both have fantastic soundtracks. Mm-hmm. And they both have, like, they're both vibe movies.
Sure.
I don't know. That's all, I guess. And Timothy Oliphant. That's what they have in common.
You know what? I thought of Smokey and the Bandit.
Okay.
It gave me some Smokey and the Bandit vibes.
I'm not familiar.
And maybe a little Cannonball Run. Two Burt Reynolds movies. I also I wonder if maybe they should have gone slightly older than Nicolas Cage.
Well, he'd only been out of the game for 6 years.
Yeah, to really play up the older versus younger thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, that would have then taken the script in a completely different direction.
Sure.
Because I mean, it is a remake of a 1974 film. You could have had someone that conceivably could have been in the 1974 movie.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have had a Sean Connery type guy. You could have had a Burt Reynolds type guy.
Were Sean Connery or Burt Reynolds in this movie?
No.
Okay. Were there any big actors in the movie?
Oh, in the original Gone in 60 Seconds?
Yeah.
I don't remember. No, I don't think so.
Because, I can see why they didn't go, searching through the old actors that weren't even that exciting.
No, I'm just saying, I think they could have gone... They could have brought Burt Reynolds in. They could have just said, okay, it's Burt Reynolds and then somebody younger.
They did have an older dude.
Robert Duvall?
Yeah.
Robert Duvall, whose entire character was to stand in front of a chalkboard and say women's names.
Well, and he was... What did you want him to do?
As
He's
they
old.
crossed off the cars.
I mean, he let them use his shop.
But it was a waste of Robert Duvall. He's a fantastic actor.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything with his character.
I guess that's true. Man, I like this movie.
I like the movie
and
too.
You're making me not like it.
I first of all, I shouldn't have this big of an influence on what you like and don't like. I'm just bringing up points, and they might be valid points, but I'm just bringing up points. But I liked the movie. I liked the movie a lot. I thought it could be. Everybody listening out there. I would recommend you go see the movie. I thought it was good. The effects and the, like you call it, the vibe, the tone of the film and the acting and chemistry between the actors is so good. It really elevates what I think is a very poor script. And I mean, I'm not saying a very poor script as in I think the script is garbage, like they shouldn't have filmed it. I mean, it's very thin. There's not a lot there. And they elevate it to a level where I think it's actually a really fun movie.
Yeah.
The other thing that I think would have been cool though, that I wish they would have done is like the car robbing scenes felt like anticlimactic to me. They save everything for the big like chase scene at the end with the Shelby Ferrari or whatever it is.
Eleanor.
Yeah. Which is a fantastic sequence. But a lot of the other robbing scenes is them like going into a garage and opening the car door and getting in and driving away. And like, yeah, the guy gets shot in that scene or whatever. Or like, you know, going to the Ferrari thing and being like, oh, we've got an in. Like we did I liked all the background work stuff that they showed and did, but it's like those car thieving scenes seemed so easy. I wish, sorry, I just want to finish my point. I wish they had made them more individualized. So like each car that they have to steal, and you don't have to do this with all 50 because that's way too long.
Right.
But at least with, you know, you focus on like maybe 4 or 5 or 6, you know, different ones. But I wish they each had their own like unique challenge where it's like, oh, you know, they get there and like, oh, we got to do this, we got to overcome this, we got to, you know, whatever.
They did.
Okay, well, tell me.
Okay, so the Sphinx guy, like,
Yeah.
there was a snake in
Vinnie
that.
Jones.
There was a snake in the car that they stole, so
Okay.
they had to deal with that.
Okay, but that was so like nothing.
And then the Mercedes, I
How
think
did
it
they
was.
solve that problem, by the way? Vinnie Jones threw it out the window.
Yeah.
That's it. Like that's not what I'm talking about.
Okay, did you want me to tell you or not?
Yeah, go ahead. Keep going.
I mean, what the fuck? Damn it! You made me lose my train of thought.
Well, think of other cars they stole where they had problems with it.
When Sway and Memphis were going to steal the one car, the cops were there and they couldn't do it because they realized that they were monitoring them.
And when did they steal those cars?
What?
When did they steal those cars? When did they overcome that problem?
It
He just stops and has this like magical thought of like, oh wait, there's a car here.
wasn't a magical thought.
No, I know.
They did research, and he saw that it was in 2 driveways closer.
Yeah. But when did they steal those Mercedes?
Then they went and broke into the police impound to get the Mercedes. But that was because of the keys. That was different cars.
No, those were the same cars.
Okay. But they went to the...
Same kinds of cars, different cars.
And they had... The dog ate the keys, and they had to... There were tons of problems that they overcame.
I'm not saying there weren't problems that they had to overcome in the script. I'm saying like a bank heist. Like in a bank heist movie, they go and they scope out the bank and they're like, okay, here's what we got to do, and we've got to you know overcome this, we've got to overcome that, and then so they make a plan, and then when they try to put the plan in action, things come up and they have to improvise, and that's where all the dramatic tension is, right? So there's no dramatic tension in open the garage door. Oh, let's get into these 5 Ferraris and we'll drive them to the thing. Like, there's no tension in that. So
not everyone had tension, but they did have scenes like that.
The scenes you're talking about have nothing to do with actually stealing the cars. I mean, they tangentially have to do with actually stealing the cars. But what I'm saying is, imagine a movie where, you know, they're all paired up into different pairs, right? So instead of like the one guy, the 2 black guys that are together, right? Instead of having them be like, oh, here's how I'm going to put this magical device in, and it picks the lock, and it you know, whatever, turns the car on, and then we drive back to the thing. Instead of doing that, you could be like, okay, this is where the car is. It's in this guy's house or whatever. Here's the security system. We got to get through this. We got to do that. You like, and actually make them scenes, like scenes where things happen and we feel dramatic tension. Like, are they going to get the car? Are they not going to get the car? Kind of thing. Instead of just getting into the car, there are so many times that people just get into the car, turn the key, and then they're gone in 60 seconds.
That is the name of the movie. So.
But I'm just saying that like that happens so often, and there's no real scene of like, okay, you know, we got to do this, we got to do that with individual cars.
Okay.
There isn't.
Okay. I mean, if you say so.
What do you mean if I say so? We just watched the movie.
I felt fucking tension in the movie, okay? Shit happened in the movie. It's not all people just getting into cars and driving off. Like, what a dumbass fucking movie you're making it sound like.
But that is generally what happens.
Okay. I mean, there's a whole bunch of other shit that happens in this movie, but yeah, nothing happens in the movie.
I didn't say nothing happens. Wow, it's like you wrote the movie. Why are you so personally offended?
I'm frustrated because I'm trying to tell you things that happen and you're just like, but that is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when nothing happened. Like, okay, fine. Let's talk about when nothing happened instead of all the shit that did happen. That's cool.
I don't think you're getting what I'm saying.
I don't think you're getting what I'm saying either.
You're saying that a dog ate keys, and that was a problem that they had to overcome.
It was.
I understand. Yes, they had to walk the dog around till it shit.
They gave it X-Lax.
Yep.
And they had to deal with the gang.
How exciting.
They had to deal with the gang, and, they were fighting with them, and Memphis and Kip were, getting yelled at by the other gang, and they went and hid in the truck stop and hooked the car up to a semi, and, all the stuff. There was a lot of things that happened in the movie.
Yeah, that did happen.
But, I mean, you're making me feel like a dumbass right now. So
I'm not trying to make you feel like a dumbass. I'm saying if they had modeled this movie more after bank heist movies, where like they do, like I said, it could have been like this. I mean, they kind of do that, where they're like 25 of these cars are going to be no fucking problem, but these 25 exotic ones are going to be hard to find. So they already hand wave away half the cars. They're like, half of these cars, whatever, we'll walk down the street and find one. So they didn't need to do it with all 50 cars. But if they had, if Robert Duvall was like, okay, most of these cars we can do. These 6 or these 5, because let's say you got 5 main crew members, right, or 5 main teams. These 5, they're a problem. And here's the problem. This is what, so this one's here, and there's all the security systems that are around this one. This one's here, and here's all the problems with that. This one's there, and there's all the problems with that. And so they say, Nick Cage, you and Angelina Jolie go make out, and you go get this car. You guys go get this car, you guys go, and they make a plan, right? And so then when each of them get there, and you could, go back and forth between each of the different heists that they're trying to do simultaneously, right? And all the problems that are happening with those heists, that would, I think, add dramatic. And that's a structural issue of the screenplay that I think adds dramatic tension instead of them just going around and being like, "There it is, let's go." Oh, you fake things so they don't see our fingerprints. Yay!
And you liked this movie, huh?
I did. I just think it could have been better.
Okay.
That's all. But it's one of those movies that you watch, if you put no thought into it at all, it's great. I'm not saying you're not putting any thought into it. I'm just saying it's one of those movies that you shut your brain off, and just soak in the vibes of the movie, the coolness in the movie and stuff like that. It's awesome. But I think it has it's not a perfect film. It has problems. Would you say it's a perfect movie?
No.
Okay, so you tell me your thoughts about it.
I've been trying.
You've been defending.
I'm kind of done.
You've been defending my thoughts of the movie. Tell me yours. What are the things you like about it? What do you have any problems with the movie? So irritated.
Like I said already, I enjoyed the soundtrack.
Yeah, it's good soundtrack.
I think Nicolas Cage and Angelina Jolie have really good chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the beginning scene when they are stealing the car right from the showroom.
Yeah, I thought that was good too. I really enjoyed that actually.
And I was sure, of course, they're going to get caught because of how incredibly bold and stupid their plan was, but instead it's because he can't not be an idiot asshole while driving.
Yeah.
Because they literally break into the showroom with a brick, drive through the glass, and manage to not get caught, but then he starts flirting with some guy's girl and racing.
Yeah. That scene does a really good job of establishing who we're dealing with, what character we're dealing with, like Giovanni Ribisi's character. And we don't get a ton more from his character after that, in my opinion.
No, he's very quiet after that.
Yeah, but we get some insight. And I wish that kind of attitude had been carried throughout the rest of the scripts.
Yeah, I think it's because Big Brother had to come save him, so he's like cowed. Mm-hmm. I think his confidence is kind of shook.
And I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I do kind of wish that we got more of that, like a contrast of the two of them. Because Nicolas Cage is kind of like more low key in this movie. There's a couple incidences where we get sort of crazy Nicolas Cage, because there's two Nicolas Cages. There's like I'm gonna act normal and I'm an actually really good actor, like Oscar winning actor Nicolas Cage, and then there's the I'm crazy Nicolas Cage. And we get just a hint of that, like when he's at the Ferrari store and he's like,
yeah.
"Oh, that bloody money!" You know, and I was like, "Oh man, he's about to erupt," and then he pulls it back, you know. But that the other thing too is anyone that has ever bought a Ferrari or tried to buy a Ferrari knows that this is not how Ferrari purchasing operates at all.
How does it operate?
Ferrari, like, I would never own a Ferrari because Ferrari, like, the company is like, oh, you can't buy one of our cars. If you go in there, and you say, I want this car, and they'll be like, have you ever owned a Ferrari before? And you'd be like, no, and they're like, can't own that one. You got to buy one of these 2 or 3 models first.
What?
Yes. That's what they do. They'll be like, you have to buy one of these 2 or 3 models first, own that for a couple of years, buy this next tier for a couple of years, and then you can get the new stuff.
That's insane.
That's what they do. And there are a lot of people that have big problems with Ferrari because of that. Lamborghini was started in part because of how shitty Ferrari is as a company. But yeah, they're like super exclusive and stuff like that. So like even to be able to own like a Shelby or whatever, like one of the higher end ones, you have to have like I had to drive a Testarossa for 3 years, you know, or whatever.
Weird.
Yeah. They're fucked up. So this guy wouldn't just be like, oh, yeah, you know, oh, you're new in town, you know, with all this money and stuff like that. Sure, we'd love to take your money. They don't do that shit. They're just like, the first question he'd ask is, oh, how many Ferraris have you owned? I've never bought one. Okay, well, then, you know, then we're not even looking at that. That's how the guy would have acted. They're snooty as shit.
Yeah. I loved the line, though, like, what else is in the warehouse?
Yeah, that is funny. And that's when he pulls back from, like, I'm crazy Nicolas Cage to, like, focused Nicolas Cage. But, yeah, there's lots of great little moments like that, especially in the we're doing our research, like, before we get the cars montage. There's lots of great moments like that. I just wish, like I said, this is a heist movie. I wish it was structured more like a traditional heist movie, I guess.
Because you wanted to be in on the planning more?
I think that's part of the dramatic tension and the fun of a heist movie when they go through the plan. So we know what the plan is. So when things go wrong, we understand they're going wrong and they have to do other things. You know,
I think it was pretty obvious when the shit went wrong in this movie.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm just gotta say, I mean, people got shot.
Yeah.
Dogs were eating things and shitting themselves. People were getting naked. There's things.
Well, who was getting naked where something went wrong?
When they were, well, I guess that went right technically.
Yeah, nothing went wrong in that scene. That's another scene where nothing went wrong. They had to steal that.
They had to wait.
They had to steal that Lamborghini or whatever, and they had to wait for these two to start having sex before they could leave.
Yeah.
Yep. And then they start having sex, and then they leave. No dramatic tension at all. Sexual tension,
sure.
And that's fine. And that's fine. Like, if you had other scenes of dramatic tension with stealing cars, you can have one where there's just the sexual tension. That's fine. But like I said, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm the one that's wrong for trying to make this art. But I'm saying, like, because maybe it's just schlock. Maybe it's just fun.
What the fuck?
Well, I like schlock, not in a mean way. Maybe this is just fun schlock. Elevated schlock, but maybe it's just fun schlock.
It's all art.
Listen, you know RoboCop? You know
What the fuck?
You know the movie RoboCop?
What about RoboCop?
That's one of my favorite movies of all time. I would call that elevated schlock. Same thing.
Okay.
So I'm saying maybe I'm wrong for trying to rework this script so that it's like something it's not.
Yeah, I think the problem is that we're working on a project, and
You
you're
think
in
You think that's the problem?
script mode right now.
Okay.
I think that's part of the problem.
So I'm being too critical
Maybe
of the script.
maybe a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I think there are problems with the script.
There are. I'm not saying it's fucking Shakespearean or anything. Okay, this is not like
It's clearly not Shakespearean.
It's not like one of the great dramatic films or some shit. But
It's
I mean,
not
it's
Jurassic
a fun.
Park.
It's a fun movie.
It is, yeah, it's fun. I agree. It's a fun movie, but it's not well written.
Okay. Okay. I agree.
Oh,
It's
dude.
not well written. I'll give you that.
All right.
I don't agree with many of your criticisms,
That's
but it's
fine.
not a well written
We don't
film.
always have to agree. That's okay. You're allowed to be wrong. It's all right.
You're allowed to be wrong, you dick.
I've said all I need to say about this movie, though.
Good.
I would say, wow, thanks.
Love you.
I feel all the love. I would say, though, go see it. Don't expect anything more than. Like I said, I think Twister's better written than this movie.
Okay.
Just saying. And I had a lot of problems with that movie.
It's like you're looking to fight or some shit, but
It's maybe better written than Independence Day. I hated that movie.
So you were saying?
I said all I need to say about the movie. It's I would recommend it though. It's a fun popcorn time. So go have some popcorn and see it. Mm-hmm. What would you say? Would you recommend it?
Obviously, yes. Stop it. He's kicking me.
Oh, I'm all right.
Ow, no, it really hurts.
Sorry. I was playing footsie with you.
Well, you're rough with your footsies. Stop it.
My footsie comes with handcuffs and a whip.
Go see the movie and let us know if you like the movie or if you think it's garbage,
Yeah.
because apparently
didn't
there's a
say
difference of opinion here.
Say it was garbage. That is our episode for the week, though. Carol, tell people where they can find their own S&M feet.
What the fuck? You can write us at latefee1994@AOL.com.
Mm-hmm.
Check out our website at www.retrolatefee.com.
Yep.
And share the tapes with your friends.
All right, see you next time. Bye.
Bye.